What's going on, y'all? It is Graveyard TCG. If you didn't see the last video, definitely check it out. I did an unboxing of the Mutant Mayhem deck, and it was with the Wise Mothman at the helm. So today we're just doing a kind of like a little mini upgrade. Keep in mind, these are cards that I did have laying around kind of deal. I'm not saying these are the correct cards. I'm not saying there aren't better cards for the deck. There certainly are, such as Doubling Season, Crater of Behemoth, etc., etc. But I'm going to go over the Wise Mothman before showing the upgrades. Wise Mothman's 4 mana. It's black, green, blue. And 1 colorless for an Insect Mutant 3/3. It is flying, and whenever the Wise Mothman enters the battlefield or attacks, each player gets a red counter. Whenever one or more non-land cards are milled, put a +1/+1 counter on each up to X target creatures, where X is the number of non-land cards milled this way. The first card we are replacing is going to be Temple of Deceit. That's enters the battlefield, tap scry 1. We actually are replacing it with a card because there is so much mill in the deck, and we're playing green, so we're definitely going to be ramping. So I felt like it was okay to go down to 35 lands, and it was replaced by Search for Tomorrow. It's green and 2 colorless for sorceries. Search your library for a basic land card and put it into play, then shuffle, or you could suspend 2 by paying a green. Rather than play this card from your hand, you may pay green and remove it from the game with 2 time counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove a time counter. When you remove the last, play it without paying its mana cost. Okay, that was the first upgrade. The second one here, we're actually removing a ramp card, which is Talisman of Resilience. I decided to pick one that would have green on it. It's just 2 mana rock. You could tap it for colorless, or pay life to do green or blue. We're replacing it with the 3 mana spell. Flux Channeler is blue and 2 colorless for a 2/2 human wizard, and reads whenever you cast a non-creature spell, proliferate, which obviously we're going to be proliferating those plus counters. We're going to be proliferating the rad counters as well. That's how that works. The next card we are replacing is Harold and Bob First Newmans, which is 3 mana, a green and 2 colorless Tree Folk Mutant. It's a 3/3 Vigilance Reach. When Harold and Bob First Newmans dies, if it was a creature, return it to the battlefield. If it's an aura enchantment, it's an aura enchantment with enchant force you control, and enchanted force has add 3 mana of any one color. You get 2 rad counters. Harold and Bob loses all other abilities. So the reason why I'd replace this is I don't really want the self-mill as much. Kind of, just not entirely. So that would be the reasoning behind that. It's not really necessary in the deck, to be honest. We replaced that with Phyresis. It is a enchantment aura, black and 1. Enchant creature has infect, because we're going to be getting a lot of huge creatures with trample. So just another win con, or just way to kill somebody. Next, I will say I hate the fact that I have to replace a bobblehead, because it looks so damn cool, but it's just not really going to cut it. Maybe if we were playing all of them, I don't know how many there are, by the way, but it reads 3 mana, add 1 mana of any color, pay 3, tap it to put X +1/+1 counters on target creature, where X is the number of bobbleheads you control, which only having 1 bobblehead in the deck, that just really isn't going to cut it. We're replacing that with Chromatic Lantern. Lands you control have add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, and tap it to add 1 mana to your mana pool. Next up, we're going to be getting rid of some removals. No, this is not removal. My bad. We're going to be replacing Young Deathclaws, 4 mana Lizard Mutant. It's a 4/2 with Menace. Each creature in your graveyard has Scavenge. The Scavenge cost is equal to its mana cost. You could just kind of exile the creature by paying its mana cost and putting that many plus counters on a creature you control. But to me, I don't want to be exiling cards from my graveyard. If I do, I could also use that card to exile cards from opponents' graveyards. And that's one of my favorite commanders of all time, the Scarab God. It is a 5-mana 5/5 god. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses X life and you scry X, where X is the number of zombies you control. And more importantly, you can pay Dimir in 2, so 4 mana, to exile target creature card from a graveyard, create a token copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. At the beginning, or when the Scarab God dies, return it to the owner's hand at the next end step. Okay, next up, we're going to be replacing Piper Wright, Public Reporter, 2 mana, Human Detective. It's a 1/2. When it deals combat damage to a player, you investigate that many times. To investigate, you create a clue token, and that's an artifact with pay 2 mana, sacker to draw a card. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. The thing is, how is a 1/2 going to get in? Like, yeah, you could put plus counters on it, blah, blah, blah. But it's just, to me, so many hoops just to draw a card. I'm good. You know, to me, I just would rather replace it here with Drawn in the Lock. That's some removal and recursion. It's Dimir. It's an instant that's Dimir, 2 mana. And it says choose one. Counter target spell with converted mana cost lesser than or equal to the number of cards in its controller's graveyard, and then or destroy target creature with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of cards in their graveyard. We're going to be milling people, so this is a 2 mana kill spell or counter, which to me is great. Next up, we're going to be replacing Watchful Radstag, 3 mana elk mutant. It's a 2/2 with evolve. Whenever a creature enters a battlefield under your control, if that creature has greater power or toughness than this creature, you put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Whenever it evolves, you create a copy of it. To me, again, that's just not doing it. You know, there's just a lot of things better than creating copies of the elk. We're actually replacing that with Altar of Dementia. You know, with so much milling that we're doing, and we're going to have huge creatures, you know, this could definitely be a win con to finish somebody off sacking these gigantic creatures. And it's a 2 mana artifact that reads sacrifice a creature. Target player puts a number of cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power on top of their library into their graveyard. All right, we have 2 more replacements here. It's unfortunate to get rid of a Vault, but we are doing it. Vault 87, Force Evolution, 5 mana saga. Let's see. Number 1, gain control of target non-mutant creature as long as you control a Vault 87. Number 2, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It becomes a mutant in addition to other types. And then 3, draw cards equal to the greatest power among mutants you control. And to me, that's just not the kind of card draw I want. If I got to keep the creature I'm taking, that's one thing. But the minute this dies, you know, all I did was give somebody a creature probably with a +1/+1 counter on it. You know, it's just not really going to do it. You know, I'd rather be using my own cards really in this deck. I replace it with Diluvian Primordial. It's a 5/5 Avatar for 7 mana with flying. But, you know, even though it's 7 mana, when it enters the battlefield, for each opponent, you may cast up to 1 target instant or sorcery spell from that player's graveyard without paying the mana cost. If a card cast this way would be put in a graveyard this turn, exile it instead. To me, you know, we're going to be milling a lot of people, so why not take advantage of the cards that we're milling? Last card we're going to be replacing is Tireless Tracker. To me, I have enough card draw, and this card used to be like kind of a bomb in Commander. Now, to me, it's just a bit... It's a bit underpowered. You know, it's not really necessary. It's a 3 mana human scout, 3/2 with landfall. Whenever a land enters a battlefield under your control, you investigate, which is creating a clue token. Whenever you sack a clue, put a +1/+1 counter on Tireless Tracker. And we replace that with Muldrotha the Gravetide. 6 mana, black, green, blue, and 3 for a 6/6 elemental avatar. During each of your turns, you may play up to 1 permanent card of each permanent type from your graveyard. So, you know, we're going to be milling as well. So, you know, we might as well be getting these reoccurring cards just to try to give people as many rad counters as possible. But that is going to be it for the video. I appreciate you watching the upgrade. Make sure you like and subscribe and leave comment, in the video. Maybe of any upgrades you made. Did you like my upgrades? Did you not like them? Is there different changes you would make? Let me know down below. Thank you all. Have a great day. Bye-bye.